Yo, good morning. It's Araphel. It is 9:44 in the morning, as we can see on this wonderful Cyrodiil map we got on the left side of our screen. Today we're talking about console add-ons. You can already visibly see some of them here on my screen, and I'm going to talk about which 5 I'm using and that I think are the most useful for what I do. There is some pretty cool stuff that are more like PvE oriented, like for crafting writs and harvesting and crafting surveys, blah blah blah. Not really too into all that stuff, but I'll definitely mention them. But right now I want to show you guys what I'm using for convenience in the game in general and for PvP. So to start off, to install add-ons, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to options. See, we have this add-ons menu here now, but you don't want to go there yet. You want to go to options, you want to scroll all the way to the bottom, you want to go to add-ons, and you want to browse add-ons, okay? So here, Harvest Map is one of the most popular ones. This shows literally all the resource nodes, chests, heavy sacks. It's just so much. When you first install this, it's going to completely overload your minimap with bullshit, and you're going to have to go into the add-on settings itself and kind of select what you want. So if you're into harvesting and crafting and stuff like that, this is definitely a cool one. Not one that I'm going to be using anytime soon, personally. What I am using, however, is Votan's minimap. That is the minimap that you see here on the left side of my screen. And to go over Votan's minimap settings real quick, once you go ahead and under the Browse Add-ons tab, once you go ahead and hit Install here at the top, see here it says Uninstall. So if you're having any issues with an add-on, once it's installed, you can either find it under Browse Add-ons or Manage My Add-ons, and you can simply click on it and disable. So disabling it actually won't completely reset it, now that I look at it. So you would have to find it under Browse Add-ons and uninstall it from here, it seems. So that's how you install and uninstall add-ons. Let's go ahead and look at the settings for Votan's minimap. So we're going to go back to our start menu. This is our default start menu. We're going to go to add-ons, and we're going to select the minimap. Now, all I really changed for this was I zoomed it out. On default setting is by 1. I have it zoomed out to 0.3 so that I can see more. While I'm mounted, I can kind of see where I'm going without having to open up the big map, okay? And the next thing I changed is the positioning is pretty off. So you're going to want to lock position and size, turn that off. And you're going to want to move the position on the x-axis down to the left. So how I have it at -92 here, it'll be perfectly out of the way. You'll still see your alliance points gains right below the minimap in Cyrodiil, and the minimap placement there should be out of the way of any critical information that you may get throughout the game. Now that we've covered Votan's minimap, let's move on to our next add-on. So options, add-ons, browse add-ons. Actually, we're just going to look through the add-ons I have. How about that? Manage my add-ons. So we see here I've got Votan's minimap, I've got Tamriel Savings Co. Price Fetcher. See this one, when you find this one, it also says must install TSC Price Data Light. So with these two together, we can go into our inventory and we can hover over just about any item. See how much this Colovian War Tort is worth. See, it says average price at the bottom from TSC is 827 gold. And it's going to do this for every item. See, it says this one's bound, so it doesn't have a price. These jewels of misrule are average 337 gold. There's another pricing add-on that is more commonly downloaded than Tamriel Savings Co., but I highly recommend Tamriel Savings Co. They've always been the leader for Xbox market pricing. the Discord bot that people have been using quite often is made by them. And they're also the first trading guild I was ever in, so I gotta slide. Gotta slide, I gotta support. Alright. Add-ons. Next up, we've got Fancy Action Bar Plus, so this is kind of a big one. Real quick, before I talk about the settings on Action Bar Plus, it may take a little minute, so let's just go through the other ones. Better scoreboard. If you like Battlegrounds, it's going to show additional information on the screen on a Battlegrounds scoreboard. Pretty cool. Auto recharge and repair. It's exactly what it sounds like. When you talk to a merchant, it's going to automatically repair your gear if it's below your designated threshold. And it'll also automatically charge your weapons when they get below that designated threshold. So, never have to worry about charging your weapons again. That's really great, super cool convenience item. Now let's talk about the settings for Fancy Action Bar Plus. Because a lot of people are going to be using this. It's very convenient. It puts it puts both of your bars active, but it takes a little bit of getting used to. So how I have it set up is not default settings at all. And something that's really cool is if you look at the potion, boom, I pop the potion, it gives you an actual timer for the potion. So let's go ahead and look at some of these settings here. We're going to go into add-ons, Fancy Action Bar Plus. And the first thing we want to do is I want to scroll down, 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 down until we reach general here. And then we're going to turn off static bar positions. Because if we keep that on, then what's going to happen is our bars are not going to move when we swap bars. I like it when I swap bars for my active bar to be at the bottom of the screen there. So that's what, see, static bar options, if I turn that on, they don't move. You just get the little green arrow swapping between. I don't like that. It's kind of hard for me to tell what bar I'm on, especially when some skills are grayed out in combat. So we're going to turn that off. And that's going to allow it to be more like how we're used to on console with the actual bar flipping and swapping. Next, pretty important options are timer settings. So I changed the font and I made the timer font size a little smaller than default. I think it's like 40 by default. And the numbers were just too big. They were covering up the whole skill. That's kind of personal preference. And then next up, ultimate value. I turned off the ultimate value in my actual default ESO HUD settings because I like the ultimate value on this add-on better. If you have them both on, they'll just kind of overlap over each other and it looks goofy and distracting. So turn one of them off, whichever one you prefer, okay? Let's keep scrolling down, looking for important settings. It's got a lot of settings, man, but they are important. Okay, here's another one that's super important. It's almost all the way down at the bottom. It's called Force UI Adjustments. So by default, this is off. And what happens when you log out is your health bar and your buff bar and your mag and stam will lower themselves to the default position as if you didn't have this add-on. And they're going to be, your health bar will be under your skill bar. Okay, you don't want that. So what you want is to turn Force UI Adjustments on. This way, every time you log into a new character, your resource pools are in the correct slots and not obstructed by anything. And that's about it. That's my top 5 add-ons for console as of right now, and how to set them up properly. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.